Yo guys, it's your boy Nathan back at it again with another video. Today we're actually going to be washing my car. I know that I did a cinematic car washing video before, but I didn't explain about like the products and the actual procedure that I actually do to make sure that my car is always staying fresh and clean. But yeah, let's go ahead and show you guys the product that we're going to use, and depending on other factors like if your car is ceramic coated or PPF, there's things that you also want to consider. But just to let you guys know, my car is fully ceramic coated and it also has PPF on it. So I don't really do the full detail for this car since the ceramic coating and the PPF keeps a lot of the gunk off of the car. So normally when I wash this car itself, I just do a normal 2-bucket washing technique with some good products and just to keep it clean. And I do this routinely. I try to wash my car at least once every 2 to 3 weeks, and you probably should do too. Let's go ahead and get to the product. Alright guys, so the first thing to start off with is, like I mentioned, right, I'm doing the 2-bucket technique. I'm actually going to be washing the wheels first, so that's why I have soapy water in both buckets. Once I'm done washing the wheels, then I'll dump it out and I'll have fresh water in there. But definitely get yourself 2 buckets, because the 2-bucket technique I find works really well, because when you're washing your car, a lot of dust and dirt and grime gets stuck on the mitt, and if you just dump it back into the clean water and then washing your car again, you can start getting micro scratches on your car and your paint, and you definitely don't want that, because then that will mean you will need to get your car detailed. So by having 2 buckets, and with a dust catcher on the bottom, it actually absorbs all the dust on the bottom, so that way you rinse the mitt and then you put it into fresh water, fresh soapy water. That way your mitt is as clean as possible. If you really want to and go to the extreme, have multiple mitts, so that way you can always make sure your car is super clean and try to avoid as many scratches as possible. But for me, I'm just going to be using 1 mitt. Like I said, I wash my car quite often, so it's pretty clean most of the time, and with ceramic coating, it tends to just make the job a lot easier, and I don't get any little micro scratches or anything like that. So that's in terms of the technique that I'm going with. I definitely have a pressure washer. This one is the Greenworks 116 PSI, and it works really well for me. If you want a stronger one, you can always get a stronger one, but I feel like this one is way more than enough, and it was pretty cheap. I believe like $80 to $100 on Amazon. But what matters most, I would say, is actually the handle. So I got this as a present, and it's been super helpful, and it's the MTM one. I feel like this one is probably one of the best pressure washer handle that I've used so far, considering their whole foam system works really well. I'll show you guys later. This foam system is probably one of the best ones, and you could go on Amazon and it has really good reviews, and a lot of car detailers, they also use this one as well. I would say this is more on like the close to professional side of car detailing, but if you wanted to get something cheaper, that's totally fine. I wash my car a lot, so someone giving me this as a present, they knew that this was going to be an investment for me, so that's why I ended up getting this as a gift. So yeah, super grateful for that. What other things that I'm using? So to clean my wheels, it's actually pretty hard to clean my wheels. These M wheels have a lot of spokes, so it takes a lot of time to clean it. So I always go with the first route of hitting it up with some wheel cleaner. Right, this one actually is by Adam's Polishes, and it eats through a lot of the brake dust and grime on the wheel for the first pass, and I go through and then I actually clean them up themselves. For the snow foam that I'm actually using, I love this one the most. This one's the Chemical Guys Honeydew. It smells really good, and I find that this one produces a lot of foam compared to all the other Chemical Guys ones that I've used. Very good, but not as great as this one. So this is my product of choice right here. Some other things that I have is just a brush to clean the tires, a detailing brush to come in and clean the little specks and holes of the tires or the wheels, and what is this brush? I believe they call this like a rabbit tail or something like that, but this one helps me get in between the spokes and behind the spokes and whatnot. This is the Chemical Guys mitt. I think it works really well. For the tire cleaner, I put it into a sprayer bottle. Make sure you guys get yourself a good one because it oftentimes gets clogged up, and you don't want to just keep buying spray bottles. So just get yourself a good spray bottle, and it will last a long time. Other than that, I think beside window cleaning products, tire cleaning products, we could talk about that afterwards. But alright guys, so the first step is we're actually going to be cleaning the tires themselves. So what I like to do is I'm using a 25-degree spray nozzle. What I do first is just get some lubrication onto the wheels itself, and after that I will apply some of the wheel cleaner. So let's go ahead and do that. The water just pretty much washes out, all of the things that are stuck on the outer coat. Obviously, water is not going to take away brake dust that well, so that's why we come in with the wheel cleaner, so that way it could break up all of the iron buildup and all like the brake dust that's been caked up in on the wheels for a while. And if you guys own an M like mine, you know how much brake dust the front produces. Like literally, I could wash my car, drive it for a week, and a week later is back to being dirty again. So this is part of the reason why I try to wash my car as much as possible. Cool. So now that we have this, I try to spray as much as I can. The more you spray, make sure you get an even coating, and make sure you spray everywhere so that way it gets most of the brake dust out. Try to be careful, don't smell this thing, it smells nasty, but as you can see, it'll start turning a little bit purple, and that just shows that it's essentially eating away all of the brake dust. I'm gonna go ahead and do all the other 4 wheels. Usually I would let this sit for about a few minutes, a little bit under 5, anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, and after that I'll rinse it off and we'll continue on washing the wheels. Cool. Now that it's been sitting for a while, the product has already absorbed into the wheels and kind of did its job, and trying to remove as much of the brake dust as possible. Like I said, after I do this step, I essentially just rinse it down and hit it with the brushes to make sure I get a deeper clean. So let's go ahead and do that. After cleaning it off, the first thing I like to do is use my brush right here and essentially just get the wheels right, because I put wheel dressing on. So it does get a little dirty. You can just keep washing it. You'll see that the water will be very brown and nasty. That just means that it's not clean yet. You want to just keep brushing it until it's clear. So that way, your wheels are super clean. So that way when you apply the actual tire dressing on, it will look very clean. So, like I said, my car has been washed not too long ago, so it's relatively clean. So after cleaning the tires, I actually get this rabbit tail brush, and I just go through and I just make sure I get all of the extra dust, brake dust out. And this part is really tedious, and as you can see, because there's so many spokes, so it could take a lot of time. If I don't wash my car for a while, this thing can actually take around 15 minutes per wheel, and it's pretty tiring. So let me go ahead and just clean this part. So I use this just to get all the big openings. So once that's done, right, this is where the detailing brush comes in, because essentially with the big brush you can't really get into the crevices right here. So I use this detailing brush to actually go in and just get all the crevices, or else the wheel is just going to look really dirty. And make sure you get behind too. It's a good time as well to clean around your bolts, because a lot of people neglect this part right here, and then your wheel will just look super dirty. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning this wheel and all the other 4 wheels, and then we'll get into the actual cleaning of the car itself. Here you guys go. Here's what the wheel look like now after being cleaned. I'm sure there's still going to be some spots that I missed, but you know, at the very end I always like to go through when the car's all dry and just spot clean it and just, you know, get anything that is still on the wheel. But for the most part, it's a lot shinier than it should be. Let me take you out to the other side and show you what the other side looks like. Right here it still has the spray on, but you can see that, you know, there's a lot of brake dust everywhere on the car that hasn't been cleaned yet. But you know, definitely it's shining a lot more. This one doesn't even shine right now. It's so dull compared to this one. This one's super shiny. So okay, so for the mixture of the snow foam, it really depends on the type of product you're using, right? So I've used this product quite often, so I figured out a good ratio that fits for me. So at least in this container here, I put it up to like the second, the third, maybe sometimes the fourth line, depending on how dirty my car is. And after that, I fill it up halfway with water. It's best to use warm water so it actually mixes a lot better, but since I don't want to go inside and actually get warm water, I'm just going to go ahead and use cold water. So let me go ahead and mix this, eyeball it. Obviously, you know, the more product to water ratio you use, the foamier it will get. And to me, like I said, I use up to like the second to third line right here. And that always worked really well for me. It's not too foamy, but not too watery as well. So let me go ahead and fill this up. And then I just like to put my finger in and just mix it in like this. Mix everything up. If you cap it up and then you mix it, it's gonna foam out from the actual nozzle itself. So let's give it a little mix and put this bad boy back on. And make sure you don't lose your nozzles. So I'm just gonna go put this away. Cool. So there is a big debate around, should you foam your car first or should you actually rinse it down then foam the car? And to me personally, my theory is that I like to just hit it with a little bit of water, not completely drenching the car. Just give it like a nice light shower, so that way the foam has some coating on it. The reason why I don't like to just rinse the car down first is, you know, just thinking about it, when you rinse down the car, all the dirt is gonna, you know, go down the side of the car, and if there's no lubrication like within the foam itself, then you know, you could kind of see that it could potentially scratch your car. So for me personally, I would either foam the car without rinsing or just give it a nice, very light rinse depending on how dirty my car is. My car for the most part is relatively clean. I just wanted to wash it, just, you know, just because I'm going somewhere tomorrow, so that's why I'm not going to actually give it a light rinse. So I'm just going to go ahead and foam up the car and let the foam do its job. And the beauty of using actual foam is that you want the product to essentially lubricate your whole car, and as it lubricates your car with the foam, all of the dirt and dust and grime is going to flow down with the studs, right? And by doing that, having the studs there, it lubricates the panel of your car, so that way the dirt itself is not scratching the actual paint itself. So yeah, definitely get yourself a good product to use for your foam, because I noticed that the cheaper products tend to not foam up as good, and it's super watery. Like I said again, if you look at this thing is thick, right? Like, it's super thick. And it's not like your regular car washing liquid. This thing is like probably twice, maybe twice to 2.5 times thicker than your regular car wash liquid. Cool, let's go ahead and give this bad boy a little foam bath real quick. Alright, here you go guys. It's super foamy, super steady. Look at this. So much foam. Right? My whole hand is like coated in foam. So usually I just let this sit about a few minutes. It'll normally start to drip down all the dirt and whatnot within like 3-4 minutes, and then after that we go through and give the car a quick rinse, and then we will continue to spot clean it with the mitts and the 2-bucket technique. But as you can see, the car is literally a Alpine white M3 now, you know, no more Gravity Gray. It's literally Alpine white. Now that we rinsed down the car, we want to actually go through and hit it with the mitt. So what I normally do is I try to go in a straight line pattern, just from one end down to the other. I try to avoid any going in a circular motion, because I actually will actually scratch your paint because of any dirt that's already inside, any dirt that's already still on top of the actual body panel itself. So just go up and down. Make sure you follow one direction for the whole panel, and it just makes things a lot easier cleaning. As you can see, I try to tackle one body panel at a time. So once I'm done with one body panel, I would then take this, dump it into my dirty bin, rinse everything out, and then go ahead and reset up the mitt again. And I'm actually going to go ahead and go through the whole car now. So with the door panel, one thing that you want to keep in mind is you want to start off from the top first and work your way down, because you can imagine all the dirt that is stuck inside underneath the side skirts. There's actually the most amount of dirt here, and plus when we foam up the car, you can imagine all the dirt just traveling down, and most of them are going to be stuck here. So make sure you work your way up from top to bottom, like how I do it. I like to start up here, make my way down, right? And once you get to the side skirts, you want to go ahead and rinse out that mitt, because if you don't rinse it out, all the dirt that's been trapped here, you don't want to go ahead and go back and screw up the actual paint itself, and then it's going to go ahead and get scratched up. Now that we finished washing the car, the next step is to essentially dry the car. I already rinsed off all of the soap because I didn't want the soap suds to get onto the actual car itself. So when it comes to drying, I always recommend getting yourself a really good towel. So at least for me, I got this extra large one, and this one has been a game changer for me. At least when it comes to drying my car, it dries the car really quick, and it actually absorbs a lot of the water. Normally I can get through the whole car with just one of this extra large towel. I got this on Amazon. On colder days, sometimes it requires 2, but right now it's a little bit warmer outside, so it will actually absorb the water much quicker. So definitely invest in a really good towel. Another one I like to use are these squared microfiber towels, and these ones I use for windows because the water actually gets trapped in between the squares, so it makes cleaning windows a lot quicker. And normally I use invisible glass just to clean my windows, and I always like to keep a lot of extra small microfiber towels on deck. I get these 50 of them at Costco for hella cheap, and I use this for spot cleaning for areas that are like super dirty, like the wheels. So I use those, and I always, after every single car wash, I always make sure that I wash my towels afterwards, because you don't want to be using dirty towels, because dirty towels mean there's dirt and stuff still on it, and it could potentially scratch your paint. So I'm gonna go ahead and dry off the car real quick before I start getting watermarks, but then after that I'll show you guys some products that I use to kind of just add the final touches to the car. So let me go ahead and do that. Alright guys, so I'm pretty much almost done drying off my car. It's dry for the most part. There's still a little spots where I would like to touch up real quick with the smaller microfiber towel, but let me show you guys the actual towel itself. It's barely even soaked with water, and this is why it's so important to get yourself a really good quality extra large microfiber towel for drying, because like I said, I was able to dry this whole car. This car is definitely not on the smaller side. It's definitely on the bigger side. It's not like my S2000 where it's super small. So this car is actually kind of really big for the most part for a sedan, and the towel is barely even drenched. And yeah, so let me go ahead and show you guys the final products and stuff of what I like to apply at the very end once I'm done drying off the car to the. Alright guys, so there's 4 major products that I really like using at the end of my car wash to give it that extra pop, and let me go through it. The first one is get yourself a good brand glass cleaner, right? Because having streaks on your windows are the worst thing, and it can be very dangerous. So for me, I always just use invisible glass. It works. Been working really well for me through the years, so I just stick to this product. Just use whatever glass cleaner that works for you. And if you do have tinted windows, make sure you get one that is ammonia free, because ammonia could actually mess up your tints. So this one is, as you can see, it says tint safe, so hopefully you guys can see that. So that means that it's good for tints, so that way you can clean the inside of your windows as well. So for cleaning the actual dashboard itself, I'm not going to do a interior video this time. I'm going to actually show you guys using the S2000, and the reason for that is because my interior is actually ceramic coated, so I don't really need to use any products to actually keep the interior clean. That's why it's always staying super white. All I really need to do is once a month just get a hot warm towel and just kind of wipe down all of the dirt, and it just comes off, and that's due to having ceramic coating the interior of my car. For an interior video, we'll show you for the next video using the S2000, where I'll show you guys how to clean and rehydrate the actual interior to keep it fresh and new. But other than that, for me at least, there are some parts that's not all ceramic coated, right? So for the seats and the door panels, they're ceramic coated, as well as the steering wheel. The dashboard itself isn't, and what I find to work really well is using a cockpit, this Nexet cockpit cleaner. If you guys can see that, and this always works really well for me. It gives it that matte finish like how it came from factory, right? You don't want a product that actually adds a lot of grease and oils into your interior, because it'll just look shiny and kind of fake. And that's when you first buy your car, it didn't come very shiny or whatnot. It comes having a very nice matte look, right? And this cockpit premium cleaner right here gives you that same effect, right? It'll take off all of the dirt and dust on your dashboard and any interior trim pieces, and it gives it that nice matte finish like how it should be from factory. So definitely get yourself some of this. It works really well. For tire cleaning, I really like this product from Adams, and as you can see, there's a trend. I use Adams and Chemical Guys product a lot because it just works for me. I know a lot of people say it's mainstream, but hey, if it works, it works. So this is the tire shine that I use, and this is I actually got the actual tire sponge adapter to go on with it, so that way it's easier for me to apply the coating around the tires and doesn't get my hand all dirty. So this is what I almost dropped that. This is what I use for tire shining. And lastly, there's always going to be stubborn watermarks. If you wash your car out in the open sun, you'll eventually get watermarks or soap marks. And you know, your car, if you don't clean it properly or dry it properly, you'll have water streaks coming out from the crevices and cracks, especially your gas panel, right? And for me, if I do have any of those, I will just go ahead and spot treat it with ceramic detailer, right? This is, it's good for just spot cleaning. I wouldn't use this on an everyday basis and keeping your car clean, because that's not what it was meant to do, right? It's meant to be applied after you wash your car. So I use this more towards as a spot cleaner to kind of treat any water runs or any water stains that I see onto the product itself. Other than that, there isn't any other products that I normally use. You know, I showed you guys all the products that I normally use to wash the car and all the things I use at the end to make it pop. So hopefully you guys learned a lot today about how I at least keep my car clean, and hopefully you guys stay tuned for part 2 where we actually do the interior of the S2000. Other than that, if you guys have it, man, please like, comment, and subscribe. It will definitely help me motivate to push out more content. Other than that, let's go ahead and do some B-rolls of the car. Let's get it.